Hello, this is Dr. Janet Hall, and I'm a clinical psychologist and hypnotherapist from Melbourne, Australia. And I work across many issues with people. My favourite thing is to program people for success. But some people do have rather demanding challenges, and one of them is binge drinking, excessive alcohol at times when all sorts of negative effects might happen. So I thought I'd talk to you about one fellow who drank so much on this evening that he found himself in a terrible, compromising situation. In fact, he found himself coming sort of to his senses at a brothel. And this man was married very happily, and so he was, hysterical about finding himself at a brothel and thought, well, I just never want to be overwhelmed by alcohol that I lose my senses and don't know what I'm doing. Mind you, he thought that the taxi driver had taken him there on purpose and that it was kind of like a joke that the taxi driver had played on him. And maybe that was so, and maybe it was a terrific wake-up call for him. Let's call him Fred. Anyway, Fred came to me and said, let's do a hypnotherapy recording because I know that hypnosis can be really good if you practice listening to a recording over and over, so that Fred knew that he wouldn't be tempted to drink too much again. So this is what Fred sort of came up with. He had to make sure that he would not go out to dinner giving himself permission to get drunk, nor to go to social gatherings or functions, and definitely not going off with the mates to get drunk. He had to break the association that drinking is all about celebrating. Well, drinking in moderation, certainly at a 21st or an engagement or a wedding, can be a wonderful way of celebrating together, but you have to count your drinks. You have to know your own limits. So for Fred, he had to stop assuming that he couldn't celebrate without being drunk. When you think about it, once you're drunk, your senses are not in tune. You're actually missing out on an awful lot of what's going on. So it's much better to stay relatively sober so that you can really tune in with all of your senses and enjoy the gathering. The other thing that Fred thought was that other people might enjoy his company more when he was drunk. Well, I don't know how you feel about that, but there's nothing worse than being sort of stuck at a party with a drunk. I used to tell a sort of a joke about what it's like to be a psychologist at a party, in terms of how as people get more and more loose with their tongues because they've drunk a bit, they tend to say, so what do? You're a psychologist. And one guy said, would you psychoanalyze me? And I said, well, look, I don't have a degree in psychoceramics. That's the study of crackpots like you. And then I turned away and found myself somebody else to talk to really quickly. Yeah, drunks are not good company. And if you're a drunk, then you better get yourself, some kind of therapy, because eventually nobody will want to be your friend. The other thing that happens for binge drinkers is that they'll tend to splash a really lot of money which they can't afford. And I know this is certainly something which a lot of young people are prone to do. I don't know if you heard of that song, I Drink to Get Drunk, but it seems to be quite a common pattern here in Australia anyway, where young people might go out on a Friday or a Saturday night and they can spend up to $200, $300 with a cocktail costing $15. It's not too hard to do. And of course all that happens is you end up with nothing in your bank, and then you have too much month at the end of your money instead of the other way around. So, you're kidding yourself if you binge drink and spend a lot of money. The other thing is that for some people it can really make you have premature aging, and you might see that your skin is starting to deteriorate. And particularly if you talk to some of your friends who don't drink, you'll notice that they have much better skin. And of course the other thing about drinking is that often people will pair smoking cigarettes with drinking, and that makes your skin deteriorate even more. You know how some people have those lines all around their mouths? Not due to aging like me, I must affirm. And so it's all about saying that you have to think of the consequences, that you don't want to ruin your family, ruin your bank balance, maybe ruin your driving offence if you get charged with drink driving. Maybe you would even kill somebody with drink driving. So there are so many reasons to learn to drink in moderation, and I encourage you to make a commitment to yourself. If you would like me to make you a recording, I'd be happy to do so. You could come and see me in Melbourne, or we could do a Skype, or I could make you a recording and we can work with emails. So if you need to keep your anonymity, that's okay, I can keep a secret. So please give me a call, Australia 61 39419 3010, or just email me at jan@drjanethall.com.au. Thank you, and always remember, drink in moderation.